Hey guys, welcome to further mass revision, hopefully the first part of many. I'm going to get into it straight away. We got Pascal's triangle here, which I did steal from the lesson on OneNote. As you can see, it has a pattern where the two tiles, they add up to make one underneath. So you see 3 and 3 make 6, 6 and 4 make 10, and so on. So I'm just going to fill in the blanks and yeah, we'll go from there. Important little fact to remember, obviously down the edges, it's always going to be 1, so just keep that in mind. Alright, so the next little fun fact, I guess, that you could throw in is that the first couple rows actually resemble the powers of 11. So watch here. Now, as you can probably imagine, the pattern becomes a little bit difficult to follow once you get the double digits here. And there is a way in which it kind of goes on, but it's a little complicated to explain. And to be honest, I don't think that's going to appear in any questions. Alright, so just remember when you get a question like this, the first thing you're going to want to do is figure out what this little exponent is up here, in this case 4. So you're going to go along, you're going to be like, okay, so the 4's here. So this is the row you want. So what you're going to do, you're going to write out the row, preferably vertically. And then what you do is times each of them by x to a certain power. And remember, the power that you times to is going to be this exponent up here. That's going to be the maximum. But remember, it goes down to 0, not to 1. And then the final step over it is to find out what number is in this bracket here. So it's also 4. But when you write the powers, remember, you're not going in the same order. You're going in like the alternate, the opposite order. So this is going to be 4 to the power of 0 in this case. Alright, so now you're at this point, what I would be doing is I would take all these numbers on the end and I would start simplifying them like this. Now, when I say simplify, the numbers aren't always going to be simple, but it's just taking them away from the, having the powers of 4, for instance. But now what you're going to do is you're just going to multiply it all out like so. And remember here, x to the power of 0 is just going to be 1. So you've got 256 over here. So now that we got all this, when we finally write it out, it's going to be like this, which I'm going to speed up because it'll take me a while. Alright, so yeah, the end product should look like this, and it's not particularly nice expression, but you know it's further maths. They don't want it to be. Alright, this question here I've come up with because it basically has every trick that they could throw at you for this question. You see, they've got a number before the x, but they've also got a negative number. So just approach this like any other question though, because we've got a power of 3 here. So we're just going to consult with the triangle and we'll see that we're after this row here. So write that out. And then what we do is when we're timesing them all, we're going to make sure we have it as 2x rather than just x. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. Now what you don't want to do is have it like I've just put it out here because that implies that it's 2 lots of x cubed. What you want to do is put it in brackets so that it shows, oh, it's 2x and we're cubing all of that. Alright, so now that we've got to this point, again, we're going to do what we did last time. The other trick that they could throw at you is this negative number here. So we're going to approach that with brackets again, and you'll see what I mean in just a sec. So again, we don't want it to be just like this because it makes it seem like you're putting the number to the power of whatever and then making it negative. What you want to make clear is that it's the negative number, the entire thing that you're putting to the power of something. I mean, in this case, 0. And I'm just going to quickly demonstrate why it's really important to make sure you have the brackets around the negative. If we choose something like this here, if you were to do minus 5 squared, then that could seem like minus 25. And the reason for that is it looks like this. So by putting the brackets in, you're changing it to make it look a little something like this. And we see that over here it gives positive 25, which is actually what we're looking for. Okay, with that little disclaimer out of the way, we're now going to turn this into something that's more understandable. And remember, this becomes 8x cubed because as well as cubing the x inside, you are cubing the 2, which gives 8. Alright, so now that we've got to this point, we can just multiply it out like we did last time. Alright, now we're going to write it all out. Alright guys, now that we've got our final answer here, that is just about going to wrap it up for the binomial expansion. So hopefully this helped, and see you in the next one.